The Midnight Dance by CartoonNerd12, Chapter 21. Celestia sighed on her throne, with her sister looking at her in sympathy.
"I'm sure it won't be too long now,"
Luna said in comfort.
"Your daughters will return with their champions, and everything will return to normal. Except perhaps your daughters will be free to marry whoever they want now."
The elder sister gave her a small smile. Yes, it's the least I can do for them, after everything they've been through. Luna nodded in agreement. Suddenly a guard came rushing in.
"Your Highness!" "Yes?"
both sisters said in concern. He bowed before them, saying,
"They're back."
Celestia gasped and got up from her throne, going to the middle of the room. "Send them in at once!" The guard nodded and ran out. The royal sisters exchanged glances, hoping that what the guard said was true. A few moments later, they saw the doors opening, and there they were, all 6 of them. The girls slowly walked in as they approached their mother. There was an awkward silence until both the Queen and the princesses found themselves bursting with tears and embracing each other in a family hug.
"Oh, my darlings, can you ever forgive me?"
"There's nothing to forgive," Twilight spoke.
"We understand why you did it,"
Rarity said. "And to be honest, we're quite grateful, even if we didn't see it at the time," said Fluttershy.
"Still, I should have told you the truth." "Yeah, then we wouldn't have believed you, what with our forgotten memories,"
Rainbow pointed out. "And the fact that we would have lived in fear, knowing something was going to come for us." Applejack gestured.
"But it is over? She's gone?"
"Yep, we totally defeated her," Pinkie gleefully said.
"Oh, girls, this is the most wonderful news I've heard in a long time."
Then she saw the guys hanging near the doorway. "You can come in, gentle colts. I would, after all, like to reward you for restoring my daughters to me."
"Oh, for goodness sake, Celestia, we don't need a reward,"
Discord motioned. The rest of the guys did random agreements. "Just knowing the girls are home is a reward enough for us," Spike said.
"Courageous and honourable. You girls certainly chose well."
Luna smirked. The princesses couldn't help but giggle to their aunt's comment. And then Luna noticed what was on Twilight's back.
"What's this? Can it be that you have wings now?"
she said in a tone that was a cross between happiness and shock. Twilight opened them to show. "Yes, it would seem so," she beamed.
"Oh, Twilight, I had hoped one day you would be given wings to rule.
But when the threat was made, I knew I would have to give up on that idea. But it does please me to see that you have had true love's kiss after all." Celestia looked between her and Flash, which caused both of them to blush a deep crimson.
"We must celebrate your return and the defeat of the evil queen,"
Luna said spontaneously. "Actually, you might want to hold off on the celebrating just yet," said Applejack. "Aw, but I had the cake and balloons all ready to go," whined Pinkie. "Just wait, Pinkie," Twilight said, as she asked their mother, "Are you ready for a surprise?" She smiled, with everyone else smiling with her.
"Surprise?"
Celestia questioned.
"What do you mean?"
"I am already surprised of all of you returning home, and you have gained your wings. What else could there be?"
"You'll see,"
Rainbow grinned as they looked towards the open doors. Celestia and Luna were both confused as they looked to the entrance, and suddenly their eyes widened to the sight that came into view. Sombra had appeared before them and was gradually walking in.
"Sombra?"
Celestia could barely speak. He smiled straight at her, replying,
"Hello, my dear, sweet Celestia."
She gasped, "It is you!" She rushed to him as they enjoyed a long, warm embrace. With tears streaming down their faces, she whispered,
"I missed you so much. I thought about you every day."
"But how? How did you get rid of the curse?" He pointed at the girls.
"Our daughters. By saying that they took me as I was. They freed me from the darkness that held me prisoner."
"An act of true love," Celestia breathed.
"I thought it wasn't possible, but they proved me wrong."
"And we meant every word, Daddy," Fluttershy said.
I know, and that's what made it all the more special.
He held out his arms as they embraced him and had Celestia join in, even Luna. Then the royal family looked over at the guys standing there. Pinky waved her hoof. Well, what are you waiting for? Join in! They exchanged glances before giving in, and it was all one big group pile, hugging and embracing loved ones. When the hugging was done, Celestia declared,
Now this calls for a real celebration.
Almost, sister. There is something I would like to do first. Spike, a letter, if you please. Spike held out a paper and quill at the ready. I, Queen Celestia of Equestria, hereby revoke the marriage law of the princesses, as they may wed whoever they choose. The girls' eyes widened as their mother read a change of proclamation before them, and ran into the arms of their beloved. Some of them actually tackled them and started kissing them. Sombra sighed. He was happy, but sad at the same time. He had to miss so much while he was under the curse, and saw that his daughters were already grown up, and were ready to move on into a new life. He wished he could have been there to see it all. Celestia noticed this and said, I find it unfair myself that you couldn't have been there for them. But I had to make sure to keep track of everything that you had missed while you were gone.
I figured you did, but still, I wish I could have been there myself, to see it with my own eyes.
They touched horns in comfort. Applejack had actually overheard their conversation and beckoned two of her sisters. Dash? Rarity? Yes, Applejack? Rarity went to her.
What's up?
Rainbow questioned. I just overheard Mom and Dad, and he hates the fact that he had to miss out on us growing up. So I figured we could give them a second chance of raising daughters together.
How do you suggest that? Pointed Rainbow. Twilight do an aging spell on us? No offense, AJ, but I don't want to relive a second childhood.
I quite agree. For too long we've been young mares, as tragic as it is that we couldn't have had father. The sad truth is that we must let things be. Sheesh, you two. I know that, and they know that. What I'm saying is, we give them girls that are our age that when the curse happened. Get it? Oh, they both realized. And think, who do we know who was our age during that time? They both pondered for a bit, until it struck them, and smiles spread across their faces. The fillies clung on to the princesses with whom they had each worked for, as they moved on down the hallway to get to the throne room. Soren, Spike and Fancy Pants were with them for moral support. But what if they don't like us? Sweetie Belle whimpered, and banish us to the Everfree Forest. Scootaloo gestured, and we'll never see any pony again. Apple Bloom panicked. Would you three calm down? Applejack said, they're not like that, okay?
Right, so you can just chill.
Rainbow said coolly. You have nothing to be afraid of, darlings. They will like you, Rarity said in a soothing voice. Besides, Spike went to the yellow filly with red hair. We have you to thank, Apple Bloom. Thank me? For what? For getting me and AJ together. If you hadn't told me that she had a crush on me, I don't know where our relationship would be at right now. I probably would still be going after Rarity, only to discover my heart would have been broken. Spike, Rarity started to say, but he just raised his claw to stop her. It's okay. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm just glad how things did turn out. He stared at his very special sun pony, and she returned the glance.
You can say that again. Soren put his arm around Rainbow. I most certainly agree.
Fancy did the same to Rarity. They stopped at their destination, and the fillies gulped in fear. The doors opened for them as the two bigger ponies went in first, with the fillies cowering right behind. Celestia and Sombra sat in their thrones, with the other princesses and their mates standing by to watch how this was going to go. Come here, little ones, Celestia spoke in a soft, gentle tone. The trio slowly gained confidence when they heard the Queen's voice, but they were given an extra nudge by Rarity, Applejack and Rainbow. They were shaking as they made their way to the royals. Celestia spoke again. I understand from my daughters that you are young servants of the castle, and that you have no family to go to for support." The fillies, still shaking, nodded their heads. Sombra and Celestia gave each other looks and faced the girls again. He spoke up this time.
"Not anymore, you do. Because we are your family now."
He smiled brightly at them. The girls stopped shaking and glanced at them in shock. They couldn't be saying what they thought they were saying, could they? Both the king and queen held out their arms, with the queen saying, "Welcome, daughters." Joy ran through the fillies, and all three jumped to the closest parent they were near to. The entire room was now shedding liquid pride at this touching moment. When it was over, Pinky asked, "Now can we party?" Twilight said, "Yes, Pinky, now we can party." "Woohoo! Cheese, bring out the party cannon, 'cause we're going to be celebrating all night long." "You got it!" He jumped. Before they knew it, the whole place was decorated for revelry. The party ponies even had vinyl scratch during the music. Every pony that was in the room started dancing away, as there was nothing but great joy and happiness surrounding them. 2 months later. The moment was at Hoof. The girls were getting ready for the biggest wedding that Equestria had ever seen, considering it was a 6-way wedding. They knew it would have taken them too long and too much work if they married one at a time. They figured since they all found love around the same time, they might as well get married at the same time. The grooms stood on a long platform, with Luna, Sombra and Celestia presiding over the ceremony. Each of them would take 2 couples to wed. The girls were outside the room in their birth order, with their younger sisters being the flower girls to go in first. "This is it, girls," said Twilight. "The day that changes everything. No matter what, we'll always be sisters," said Applejack, holding out her hoof. "Sisters forever." Rarity put her hoof on AJ's hoof.
"Sisters for always."
Rainbow was next. "Best sisters for life." Pinky put her hoof in. "Sisters together." Fluttershy did hers as well. "Sisters and best friends everlasting." Twilight did the final hoof. They all looked over at the little fillies, gesturing for them to join in the circle, which they were happy to do. The wedding march sounded off inside, and the girls got back into their positions. The doors swung open, and the trio bounced up and down, throwing petals. Fluttershy gracefully walked in, with Discord gawking at the sight and Fancy having to nudge him to snap him out of it. Once she made it up to the altar, to her groom, they beamed at each other, before turning to see Rarity elegantly making her entrance. When she made it to the altar, she and her groom also smiled to each other. Spike looked back and saw his lovely bride making it down. She beamed at him just as he beamed to her when she came by his side. Rainbow was strutting her stuff when she getting to her stud muffin. They looked into the audience, seeing Spitfire and Fleetfoot giving looks of approval. Pinky found herself bouncing up and down the aisle to make it to her groom. She playfully nudged his top hat. Everyone turned to see the last bride coming down. Flash could see she was glowing in his eyes, just as he was glowing in hers. Once she came to his side, the march came to a halt, and Celestia addressed the guests. "Mares and gentle colts, today we not only celebrate one union, but 6. My daughters, the princesses, have chosen their future husbands out of love, not by some trick of politics. Even when they knew they shouldn't have, they persisted to fight their way for love, and in turn, the love they shared saved them. It was because of this that I was reunited with my own true love, King Sombra." She gave him a loving glance. He gave one in return as she continued. "To make the ceremony easier, my husband, my sister, and I shall take turns uniting the princesses with their true loves. My darlings, are you ready?" "Ready," they all replied. "Then let us begin." She turned towards Luna. Luna was next to Discord and Fluttershy, and Rarity and Fancy Pants. She started with the oldest.
"Do you, Fluttershy, take Discord to be your husband?"
Fluttershy held on to him, looking straight at him. "I do."
Do you, Discord, take Fluttershy to be your wife? I do.
He looks straight back at her.
I now pronounce you Mayor and Draconicus. You may kiss the bride.
Discord didn't waste a second as he snatched her up to kiss her. When they were done, Luna turned towards the next couple.
Do you, Rarity, take Fancy Pants to be your husband?
I do.
And do you, Fancy Pants, take Rarity to be your wife? I do. I pronounce this couple Mare and Colt. You may kiss.
Fancy magically lifted up her veil, and they moved into a passionate kiss. Sombra took over and looked at Applejack and Spike.
Applejack, do you take Spike as your husband?
I do.
Spike, do you take Applejack as your wife?
I do.
I pronounce you Mare and Dragon. You may now kiss.
They didn't waste a minute as she grabbed him in her arms, kissing away. He smiled as he went to the next one.
Rainbow Dash, do you take Soren as your husband? Do I ever? And do you, Soren, take Rainbow Dash as your wife? Do I ever? I pronounce you Mare and Wonderbolt. Go ahead and kiss.
They did so, and with pleasure. Celestia beamed at her daughters and their new husbands, turning back to the ones that still needed to be wed. Pinkie Pie, do you take Cheese Sandwich to be your lawfully wedded husband? I do. Cheese Sandwich, do you take Pinkie Pie as your lawfully wedded wife? I do. No, I do. No, I do more. Celestia giggled. Then I pronounce you Mare and Colt. You may kiss your bride. But instead it was Pinkie who grabbed him up to kiss first. It all came down to the last couple. Celestia spoke loudly and clearly for all to hear. Twilight, repeat after me. I, Twilight Sparkle. I, Twilight Sparkle. Take Flash Sentry. Take Flash Sentry. To be my husband and future king. To be my husband and future king. She beamed at him. Now for you, Flash.
I, Flash Sentry. I, Flash Sentry.
Take Twilight Sparkle.
Take Twilight Sparkle.
To be my wife and future queen.
To be my wife and, he added the word, beautiful future queen.
Now the both of you will say, to have and to hold for the rest of our days. They looked at each other.
To have
and to hold
until the rest
of our days. I now pronounce you Mare and Colt. You may all kiss the brides. She told the other couples. They didn't need her to repeat that as they were already kissing away. The crowd cheered and threw rice into the air. As it was tradition, the newlyweds got out of the balcony to wave down to the citizens of Equestria. One can only imagine the excitement when 6 newlyweds came out. Rainbow pulled a fast one by performing a sonic rain boom. The night air filled in the reception at the gardens as each newlywed couple took a slow dance for their first dance as husbands and wives. When the music stopped, the couples clapped and a microphone sounded off as Sweetie Belle's voice filled the air. Hey, every pony! I just wanted to tell you how lucky I am to have such amazing sisters. Even if we weren't sisters at first. But Apple Bloom, Scootaloo and I are happy that we are. And we just want to thank the princesses and wish them luck in their new lives with their new husbands. That got a couple of laughs and ahs from the audience. And to do that, we've been working on a song just for them as a wedding present. Here it goes. She gave a signal to Vinyl, and the latter started the music up. Love is in bloom, a beautiful bride, a handsome groom, 2 hearts becoming one, a bond that cannot be undone. Apple Bloom and Scootaloo joined her. Because love is in bloom, a beautiful bride, a handsome groom. I say love is in bloom. You're starting a life and making room for us. A montage happened of everyone enjoying the party. The newlyweds each got a carriage. For Rainbow and Soren, a chariot, to go on their own honeymoons. Each carriage was going to take them to a separate location as they waved off their fellow couples, and they waved up to a balcony that Celestia, Sombra, Luna, Applebloom, Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo were on, waving goodbye. Throughout it all, the magical underground kingdom was still in the room the girls shared for so long. Without it, the girls felt they never would have got the happy ending, after all, and would never forget it and the memories they had made with it.